Hello and welcome to Midyear Calendar Declutter. Thank you so much for coming and joining us today. Great to have you if you're watching live, and hello if you are joining us and watching on YouTube. We're going to use the chat function today to interact and to ask questions, so please do that. And as I said, if you're watching on YouTube, you can use the comments to do that and ask any questions. We can reply to you if you've got any specific questions just by using the comments on YouTube. So as I said, this is being recorded. We're going to pop it on YouTube later, and also to share it with the people that registered but were unable to make it in person today, because we're in Melbourne. It's just turned 10 o'clock here in Australia, in Melbourne, Australian Eastern Standard Time. But people from all around the world register for our workshop, so that is awesome. And that being the case, please let me know where you are joining us from today. Pop it in the chat and say hello, and let us know where you're joining us from and what you're looking to learn today. We'd love to hear your thoughts there. Space and time, my business, which is about 8 years old now. It's all about making conscious choices about how we use our space and our time. So we're going to be talking about time management specifically today, and how to declutter our calendar. It's a perfect time to do it in the middle of the year. You might be going, it's June next week. I've got still a lot of things that I want to do. Let's have a look at those things this week. And if they are important, let's get them in our calendar, in our diary, and let's start working on them. And along with managing our space and our time, we're looking at putting systems in place as well to support that. So if you want to spend more time on something in particular, what other systems can you create and put around you to ensure that that happens? Also interested today to know what you're looking to learn today. Pop that in the chat. I'm going to have a look at that in a moment and share what everybody's intention is. What would you like to learn today? What is challenging about managing your diary? And also, just by writing it and putting it in the chat, it makes it really helpful for yourself as well. It's making it clear to the universe, to yourself, to us as accountability buddies for you, that because changes of any sort are much easier if we have a clear intention. And I'm also going to share how you can continue on your decluttering and organizing journey. Later in the session, I'll share our next upcoming workshops that we've got in 2 weeks' time, which is wardrobes, I think. But also there's a one-on-one program you can do with me to get focused on those important things. And we can work on Zoom together in weekly sessions, so that you can really get this stuff done if it's important enough to put your focus onto. Just going to the chat. Mary Lou, my awesome virtual assistant, is joining us from the Philippines. She is joining us from a special location, celebrating her birthday yesterday. Thank you so much, Mary Lou, for getting all of these things happening. Mary Lou does all the social media. She puts the events together and helps me out a lot so that you can all come and join us. Bettina is in Canberra. Thanks, Bettina, for joining us. And she says that every hint and tip of knowledge is always valuable. Thank you so much, Bettina. Always love having you. Hi, Janine. Lovely to see you. She's in Sydney. Looking forward to getting some tips about improving my time management. Jam-packed days and always looking to do better. Love it. And Jade, welcome, Jade. Nice to see you. Jade says, happy birthday, Mary Lou. That's so kind. Very nice of you all. Thank you for coming along and joining us. Keep that chat coming. That's going to be our main way of communicating today. So thank you all so much. So here I am. I'm Julie Cliff. A lot of you have already been to my sessions before, but if you haven't, welcome. I am a professional organizer and a declutter coach. I call myself a professional organizer when I go into people's homes and help them hands-on declutter and organize their homes. This afternoon, I'm going to work with a client that's nearing the end of her life. So we are completely emptying her home, so helping her work through that and deciding what she's going to keep and pass on to people and those sorts of things. So that's part of my hands-on decluttering. And then I also call myself a declutter coach when we're working in this online environment where I'm teaching you the skills to be able to go and do the work yourself and helping you know what you've got from within as well, because quite often my clients know what they want to do. They just need a little bit of help and encouragement and guidance. And we can often do that in this online environment. I'm married, have two sons and a husband. One of the boys is home today. He's not feeling 100%. So he's here, but hopefully he'll be back at school tomorrow. And I've been running my own business for the past 8 years, helping other people get and stay organized after running an office as an executive assistant and administrator for quite a long time. So helping others get and stay organized is something that I really enjoy doing, and do that now in my own business space and time. So through this workshop today, again, if you have joined us before, you would know this space and time organizing system, and you would know these 6 steps. I'm going to quickly run through these steps now, and then we'll go through them in more detail. The first step of the 6 steps of the space and time organizing system is to stop the stuff. And specifically, we're going to be stopping more stuff on your to-do list and in your diary. Then we're going to get really clear and get focused and get committed to being organized. The third step is sort the stuff. Well, we're going to have a look what is important, what's not important. So we're going to do that sorting step. And then when we decide what is important, then we're going to start to let some things go. We're going to let things go that we no longer need. Again, we're talking about our time management today. So what are those little things that you're working on that don't really move the needle much, they don't really make you any money, or they take you a lot of time, or take you away from spending time on the things that you want to spend your time on. And the 5th step is easy storage. So we're going to be looking at how do we keep track of these important things that you're working on, and in the form of a diary, online calendar, and some other options there, using our technology as well. And then maintenance. We're going to have a look at maintenance tools for keeping you organized and doing things what organized people do. So the intention and the sort of format of today is we're going to start off by having a look at where all our to-dos come from. And then we're going to prioritize and stay focused on those important tasks. We're going to structure the week to suit your energy. So Janine was saying she's got a very full week. Let's see if we can tweak it somehow, let go of things that aren't working for her well, and make it like more of an energizing routine rather than just running around like a headless chook. And then, as I mentioned before, make being organized a part of our daily lives. So that's the structure that we're going to be talking through today. Starting with the first step, which is stop the stuff. So if you've got any questions about this first step as we're going along, or any other suggestions on how we can stop adding more things to your diary, please pop them in the chat and I'll share them when we're coming to the end of this first step. As I say, we're talking about stop more stuff. So what is the big deal of having too much on your to-do list, too much in your diary, and just too much in your mind as well of all those things you need to do? And sometimes all of that can just get so overwhelming that we end up doing nothing. It completely can take over, and we can end up with something like a chronic fatigue syndrome or something like that, where our body can completely shut down because we are so overwhelmed. Or on a less scale than that, it might be that we just don't know what to do next, and we waste so much time thinking what to do next because we're paralyzed about actually moving forwards, when we think we might do the wrong thing next, or we can't get it right. So we don't do much at all. So that's what having too much to do can mean. And also, too much to do can be absolutely exhausting, of course. As I said about running around like a headless chook, if you're not making time for breaks in between, whether it's break in between clients or your work that you're doing as your paid work, if you're not having that time to stop and process what you've been doing, say in the morning by sitting and having a lunch break, or just chilling out in the evening because you're doing more and doing more and doing more, you can soon end up absolutely exhausted and just can't get out of bed. So we're really wanting to have a look at what we're focusing our attention on. A big thing to remember, and I will mention it quite a number of times today, is that we only have 168 hours in a week. And every time I say that, I say that I'm going to say it again and again, 168 hours a week. But also, I always say that we do need to sleep at some stage. We do need to, do other bits and pieces in our life, like eat and shop and do the cleaning. There's a lot of those things that sort of need to be done, as well as all these big projects that we're working on as well. So let's be mindful of how do we want to spend our 168 hours a week, and start to have a think now of why we have so much on our to-do list. And it often comes from lots of different places. As I mentioned, it might be your work, it might be your business. You might be still doing paid work and working for yourself, starting a side hustle, or you might be retired and you've got a lot of things that are taking up your time, like helping out with the family, the grandkids, or even dental and doctor's appointments. They all take a lot of time as we get older. So there are a lot of different places, a lot of different hats that we wear. And that can be sometimes why we end up with so much on our to-do list. So what are some ways that we can stop putting so much on our to-do list? And we can do that and have a think about that by thinking about where they come from. Because if we know where all these to-dos are coming from, then we can stop them from coming in the first place. All right, let me flick over to the next one. So what we are doing is being mindful, as I said, about what we're going to put on our to-do list and in our calendar in the first place. And a really good way of stopping more stuff is to practice saying no. Now, that can be very difficult. A lot of us, particularly women, I find, are people pleasers. They're not very good at saying no. They find it easier to say yes and try and figure out how to do it, or mumble under their breath while they're doing it because I don't really want to do it. But we can practice saying no, and remembering also that no is a complete sentence. You don't need to explain yourself, the reasons why you can't do it. You just say, no, I can't do that. When there's a lot of other ways, you can actually Google nice ways to say no, and it'll come up with a great list that you can start practicing. And I actually put that into practice just Friday night, just gone. My youngest son, who's home today, he went to a sleepover. So I dropped him off there with his bag full of stuff, drove home in the rain and the Friday night traffic. And I just got home. It was about 6:30, something like that. And he sent me a message and said, Mum, can you drop me over a pair of shoes and socks? And I said, no. And I did actually go on to explain that I only just got home and it was because of the Friday night traffic and the rain. But that was going to take up another hour of my time on a Friday night. I thought it might be a good way for him to learn to pack his bag correctly in the first place. He had to walk around in his school shoes rather than his nice pink shoes, blue and pink shoes that he has. But that was being kind to me. That was taking something off of my to-do list so I could get the dinner ready and sit down and enjoy my Friday night watching the footy. We were watching some rugby league game. It wasn't a Melbourne Storm game, but it was another game that we were watching. So practice saying no, just with small things like that. And often I would say yes, but that time I said no, and being good to myself. So I would love to hear your thoughts. What are some ways you can practice saying no? It might be when someone's asking you to do something for a person, or an extra volunteer role, or something extra at work. And we don't have to say no all the time. Weigh it up, get it right for yourself, but don't be afraid to say no. And also thinking about the idea of being busy for busy's sake. We do think, oh, look at me, I'm so busy and I'm pretty good. You wear it like a badge of honor. I'm working all of these hours, that a lot of the time we're not achieving a great deal and we're just running ourselves into the ground. And as I've said a number of times, running around like a headless chook and not getting those important things done. So let's not get tricked into being busy for busy's sake. We want to be busy in our own time and on those projects that we want to work on. So I hope you're coming up with some of your own ideas too as I'm speaking through here. Share them in the chat about way to stop more things on your diary. Who is it that's pulling you to be doing more things for them? Or what is it? What's the project? What's the person? Having a think about that. What are some ways that we can stop more things on your to-do list? And also be mindful of your daily busyness as you go about your day. We often go, oh, I've got to hurry up, I've got to hurry up, I've got to hurry up. And you've got that exhausting soundtrack going on in your mind, and that exhausts you just by having that on repeat. So try and stop and thinking, why am I in such a rush? I think I can actually do this and get it done, this task that I'm sitting and I'm mindfully doing, without having that soundtrack in the background. And I'm going to get it done much better without thinking I'm busy, I have to do this in a rush. So have a think about that as well, about what chatter is going on in your mind. So there's a few ideas about stopping more things from going on your to-do list. Going back to the chat. Thank you, Bettina. She says, too much to do and not having learnt to set boundaries can seriously lead to fatigue and burnout. Awesome. Yeah, very important for our mental health, Bettina, isn't it? To set those boundaries and practice saying no. Janine says, good on you. So hard to say no ever. I understand. Jade says, saying I don't have the time, the energy, the finances that deserves right now. I like that one. Thank you. That's very nice. That's a good way of saying no, isn't it? But sometimes we can also think about that your body is telling you that for a reason, I think, aren't they? So we really be mindful of what our body is telling us. And Bettina says she used to be a very helpful person. Then she got unwell and had to change her ways. I try not to rush and let time between appointments, even if it's just seeing a friend, and not rushing. I love it, Bettina. And Bettina is very, very good at living her values of taking her time, looking after herself and putting herself first. So thanks for sharing those key things, Bettina. Awesome. And just brushing your teeth slowly. That is so good. And I have learned to brush my teeth slowly and dry my hair in the morning with the hair dryer. And it really does just help you slow down. There are a couple of awesome ways. Thank you, everybody, for sharing some of those ways that we can slow down and stop adding more things to our to-do list. So thank you very much. I appreciate that. All right, let's skip on to the next one, step 2, which is your commitment to being organized. So being organized doesn't just happen. Organized people are that way because they plan, they think about it, they look into the future, they make plans, and they are deliberate and make conscious choices to be organized. You don't just turn up somewhere on time. It takes some planning to know what you need to take somewhere with you, and how long it's going to take you to get there and drive, and also park and then walk to the venue. So being organized is a commitment, and it is deliberate. It takes a bit of practice. It takes a bit of time. But some of these changes don't have to happen overnight. You can learn how to be organized. I taught myself how to be organized. I think I had some of those tendencies anyway, but more so with my physical stuff, I would just stuff them in the cupboard because I was in a rush and needed to get off to do something. But then the next time I'd come back to the cupboard, it was in a big mess, and I couldn't stand looking at it, couldn't find things. So I taught myself to stop, to slow down, to fold the towel nicely, to put it into the linen press so that next time it's open, it's easy to see what you've got there. And you can just find it nice and easily. So you can teach yourself, and you can do it in small increments. You don't have to change everything overnight. just start with small little changes. And as we were saying earlier in the session, is have a think about what you want your life to feel like. Plan some more time in your day, as Bettina says, between your clients, or even if it's catching up with a friend, having a bit of a think about what that day is going to look like. And we're going to actually plot that out on a calendar in a minute and see what it looks like, because it can be quite scary sometimes if we write down and plot everything in a calendar when we see it right there in front of us. So I'm pretty sure that none of us want to feel rushed and overwhelmed, scattered or exhausted. So we really need to make deliberate choices with how we use our time. And this is what this second step, your commitment to being organized, is all about. So we might go, we can't just be flippant and go, oh yeah, I'm going to be organized. Well, you really need to start to make the changes and start to do what organized people do so that you can become an organized person. And this can be any little tweak that improves. Like I can always improve how I do things and my diary management and that sort of thing. We're not talking about being completely and utterly disorganized. We're talking about just tweaking what you've got already to make it even better and have that lovely, energizing flow to your week. So what are your suggestions as well about stopping more to-dos? We've spoken about that, but still share more if you've got them. And also, what could you do differently? How can you be more committed to being organized? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the chat. I'm just going to have a look. Bill says the art of knowing. I love that one. Sounds like you could write a book about that, Bill. I like that for a title, The Art of Knowing. So that's saying no, knowing. And that's a good one, Bettina. Thank you. That she says, Bill, I love your comment. That was very, very good. So we're just talking about being committed to being organized here. As I said, making that deliberate choice. Yes, I'm going to be an organized person. I'm going to be good to myself. I'm going to be kind to myself. I'm going to say no. And I'm going to choose how I run my day. My inbox is not going to run my day. My family is not going to run my day. I'm going to run my day. So let's have a think about how we can do that as well. Here we are. Bill again says, my no is not a negotiation. I love it. And no is a complete sentence. Amen. Love it, Bill. Thank you. That's a couple of great comments. We might capture them, Mary Lou, and share them as well, because they are fabulous. No is not a negotiation and no is a complete sentence. Thanks, Bill. All right, let's move on to the next step. We'll come back to your comment in a second, Bettina, that you just put in there. We're just going to talk about sorting the stuff. So we are going to talk about how can we decide what is important on your to-do list. And we can do that by sorting it. And a good way that I find we can do is run down the list that you've written, your to-do list. And if you would, something will come to mind. It'll be something that's, yes, that's important because it's coming up and it's starting to be urgent. Something that's going to be moving you towards your big goals. So what are those goals? And also something that's going to add to your day, fill up your cup, something that's important for your mental health. But also you might be looking at projects if you're working for yourself. What are those projects that are going to make you the most money? So some of those things, asking yourself some of those questions, are they going to move the needle? Are they going to make you money? And will they lighten your mental load? That can be questions you can ask yourself as you're looking down the list. My favorite thing to do when working with a client, looking at their to-do list, is completely cross off something off the list that doesn't need to be there. They might have had a recommendation about a book, about the Himalayas that they thought might be interesting. It's like, well, okay, well, when are you going to read that book about the Himalayas? So that, well, I haven't really got time. I should be reading this book instead. Okay, well, that's a lovely thing. Thank you, friend, for recommending that book about the mountains, but I don't have time at that moment. You could either completely cross it off or put it on a books to read list for later on. But I really love to find those things that might be nice to do, but you don't have to do them. Please just cross them off. If it's a recommendation from somewhere that you want to go, something you might like to research. You can waste so much time going down a rabbit hole of research because you found something interesting. If it's not going to move you towards those big goals that you're working on, let's cross it off. So that's my favorite thing when we're sorting our stuff. It's probably more like letting go of things you no longer need, which is the next step. But it really makes me happy when we can decide quite quickly that we're not even going to put it in our diary in the first place. Let's have a look at sorting our things. So a good way to sort our stuff and to prioritize our to-do list is to use a blank calendar or weekly planner. Mary Lou's probably popped that link in the chat already, so that you can start to plot out your week on this weekly planner. Put in your hours of work or business, and if you're doing both, absolutely do it. If you work for somebody else and yourself, absolutely put those times in the diary. As Bettina said, set those boundaries. I'm going to work on my business 3 mornings a week and then work for somebody else in the afternoon, something like that. Get those boundaries happening and get it in the diary. Write down time to do the domestic duties like your washing, your groceries, your meals and your cleaning. Somebody's got to do them. We'll talk about whether that actually needs to be you in a second. But about family commitments and also your me time. And don't forget, we only have 168 hours a week. So when we're sorting this stuff, we're looking at our to-do list and we're actually starting to plot it in our weekly planner. And we'll look shortly at letting some more of those things go and outsourcing them. But this is a great way to start looking at it, start deciding what you want your week to look like as well. We're talking before about putting those buffers in, time for travel, time for rest, meal breaks, those sorts of things. So just plot out your week using that weekly planner. And then what we can do as well is to double your time by saying no. We've given a few examples about saying no before, because that can completely free up your time. Instead of spending an hour researching something or reading a book on the Himalayas that was interesting but not really that important, you can double your time by saying no and crossing that off your list. Sort it in order so that we can decide what to keep. And if we're sorting our to-do list in the same way, we can be focused on what's important to you. And this clear and focused time can be really great way of you taking control of your life and staying on track. Again, rather than doing what your inbox is telling you to do, what all your emails are telling, or your family's telling, we're talking about you being committed and looking closely and staying on those important goals. So do you have a clearly planned out calendar each week? Do you use a similar strategy to here? So that is just a very brief and short way of helping you sort your to-do items. We can get into this a bit more if you need some more help with it. In the 6-week program, that Get Clear and Stay Focused program that I'll tell you about in a few minutes. But we can look at that in more detail, because sometimes it is difficult. We think that everything is urgent and everything is important, and sometimes it can be difficult to sort out those to-do items. So if you need some more help with that, let's do that offline. Okay, I'm going to go to our chat now and have a look at what people have been sharing. We are going back up to Bettina's comment from before. We said, Bettina says she goes with her energy, and when I can concentrate, and I do my mental work, less energy folding the washing and having time to be grateful and creative thoughts. So that's right. Just doing one role at a time, being mindful while you're doing that role and that task is so good, rather than folding the washing and thinking about these other things that you need to do. We're just doing one thing at a time, and it's really, really, really beneficial for our mental health. Thanks, Bettina, for sharing that. Bill says, I don't say no because I'm so busy. I say no because I don't want to be so busy. That is so good. Bill, you've got to write the book about knowing. I love it. So I'll repeat that again. I don't say no because I'm so busy. I say no because I don't want to be so busy. That's so good. It's a beauty. And Bill says, none are mine, but I just love the 4. What was that one? Can't remember. Anyway, thank you anyway for sharing. I really appreciate all these comments that we're talking about sorting our to-do items. So now that we've sorted them, I'm going to get you to have another look and see if there are more things that we can let go of. So we want to, step 4 is things you no longer need. So what else can we get off of our to-do list? What else can we take out of our diary and calendar? How much further can we go with decluttering our calendar? And here's some more questions we can ask us. What can you outsource, automate, or delegate? We'd love you to keep thinking about this as we're talking through these sections of letting things go that you no longer need. So which of these things on your to-do list can your kids take on, or your grandkids, or little people around you, so that you don't need to do it? And generally these are things that those people would do for free, but sometimes you might want to give your kids a little bit of money. I pay Charlie to sweep our floor and vacuum because I don't want to do it anymore. So that's his little bit of pocket money. So what else can the kids take on? What else can your spouse or partner help out with? So they might be household chores, but they might be something else, might be bill paying, it might be looking after the garden, all sorts of things that we can outsource to other people within our immediate circle. And also what tasking your neighbours or friends or work colleagues and other family members help out with. So don't be afraid to put your hand up and say, you know, can someone come and help me mow the lawn this week? You know, you don't need to give a reason why, just ask, put your hand up. And that is difficult, but again, just like practicing saying no, asking for help is very, very beneficial for you. They feel awesome as well, helping you out, and you get much better at asking for help when you practice it. And again, are there more things we can say no to? So decluttering unimportant tasks from our calendar to free up time for activities of our choice. So what sort of things would you like to outsource, automate, and delegate? Again, we can look at delegating to somebody that you're paying to do the task. Of course, as I mentioned, my awesome virtual assistant, Mary Lou, is joining us today. So she looks after all the social media, all my admin, all of my email, all of that stuff. So I'm obviously paying her to help me do that. So that's how I've delegated or outsourced a lot of those things. So sometimes we may need to pay for people to do things for us, but a lot of the time with our family and friends, we can ask them and they will do it without having to pay. So we'd love for you to have a think about what's important to you, but somebody else could do for you. So to free you up to spend time on your work, to spend time on your paid work, to spend time on your business, to spend time on that book you want to write. Bettina, I'm sure you've got a couple of books in the pipeline at the moment. She's got another little one coming up. What else are you working on? And there's your other one, connecting the dots. I'll get you to pop the details for connecting the dots pop that in the chat so people have got as well. Lots of different techniques there. And experiences from Bettina looking after her mental health. So yeah, what can we free up so we can do those important things that we are focusing on? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the chat there about what are you going to let go of. Janine, have you come up with anything yet that you're thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to do it differently this way? Pop it in the chat and let me know, because you said that you had a really full diary. Is there anything so far today that's popped up? Right, the next one is easy storage for your stuff. So this is just a fancy way of saying use a diary, use a calendar, or use a list of ways that you can store your to-dos, and have it in one point, in one place. There are 100 million different apps you can use out there to help you get and stay organized, but I'm a real minimalist. I use my notebook, which is just my book that I take to my clients all the time. It's just a little A5 book, and it's got my to-do list in it. A lot of the time I don't even write a to-do list because I'm too busy with my clients. I haven't got time to do anything else. I just asked Mary Lou to do it. I'm very, very lucky like that. But and she manages it for me. But have something simple for your to-do list. It could be an app. If you love an app, let me know what the app is. But again, I think sometimes people get a bit complicated and they've got spreadsheets and flow charts and Trello, and just do the work. Sit down, put it in the diary and get it done. I know I'm simplifying it a lot, but that's what works for me and a lot of my clients. All right, so as I said, use your diary or calendar to keep you on track. Schedule time in your diary to actually do the items. So it's like, okay, I need to sit and write a blog. So actually write that time in your diary as to when you're going to sit and write it. Block it out in your calendar, just like it is a doctor's appointment. Don't let that doctor down. Don't let yourself down. Don't cancel, and actually make the time to do it. And be also interested to know, we're getting a nice tour of Nicole's suburb by the look of it. She's got a camera on, Nicole, if you can hear me. I can see you're wandering around the suburbs. You can use a paper diary or an electronic diary. Which one do you use? Would love to hear your thoughts and how that works. But I love my Google Calendar. I just use it, again, very simple. And then I have little reminders come up. What have I got here? Did I have a reminder come up? Usually have. What are you doing? Phone. This one says that this Zoom meeting's on. So that's always a good reminder. I spoke to my friend Christy at 9 o'clock this morning. So that popped up. Spoke to Christy, open up. I don't want to open. I had to pay Mary Lou, so that popped up this morning, and I had to pack up the car ready for my client this afternoon. So they all pop up. I'll show you. Oh, here we are. Yeah, here it is. It says, oh, that's the list I want to show you. So it says pay Mary Lou. It says pack the car, and the insurance gets debited out of my account today. So they just come from my Google Calendar onto my phone and onto my Apple Watch, so that we can I can get these things done. And if I don't pay Mary Lou when that pops up, well, she won't be able to have her lunch or whatever. So it's important that some of these things get done, or she can't feed the dogs. So it's important. Anything that's important, I love to use those notifications so that I don't have to remember. Get your tech to remember for you. But don't go crazy and have 1,000 notifications going off that you don't actually get to and don't action, because that can be, really annoying for you and can annoy people around you. But those really important things, like paying someone, like paying a bill, let your tech remind you. So that's why I love the electronic stuff. If you use a paper diary, how do you go about doing something like that? Do you how do you remind yourself when it's an electronic a paper diary, and it can't just bing and remind you how to do it? Let me know how you use your diary in that way. All right, let me go to the comments. Let's have a look. Going through. Jade says she uses a small paper notebook and notes section on her phone. I love it. Beautiful and simple, Jade. So write down things in a notebook, and then notes, the little app that comes with your iPhone to put notes in. So that's beautiful. I love that. I do that too. Janine says, always a full diary, but I'm going to make sure I do take breaks. It makes such a difference, Janine. I love it. And not work so late in the night. The trouble is, I love what I do and I just keep doing it. I hear you, Janine, but those breaks are so important so that you can continue to love what you're doing. So I love that you're starting to put just a couple of little boundaries in that'll make a difference about taking breaks and just looking after your own mental health and your well-being so that you will continue to love it. Janine says she loves a paper diary, but also uses Google. Sorry, just checking my messages as it popped up. Another reminder that I need to do something shortly. Good on you, Janine. She uses both paper and Google. And Bettina says, working towards a dream of writing my literature. I made time every day for writing, and that was my absolute priority. Sometimes dishes were piling up, washing was piling up. In the end, having dinner ready was for everybody was the next priority and always managed. I just finished my first children's book on the lady beetle using the same method. Happy days, well done. So Bettina really has prioritized writing, and other things can wait. The dishes can wait, or somebody else can do it, or somebody can wait for their favorite jumper to be washed, or they can wash their own favorite jumper. So if we don't sit down and write or do those important things, other things come in and we don't get that stuff done. So well done, Bettina. I'm glad you're so disciplined and make time for your writing, because as I said, I love your book, Connecting the Dots, and can't wait to see the next one. All right, let's keep on moving. Thanks everyone for sharing about their ideas on how they may tweak their weeks just to keep refreshed and happy and working on those important things. So the last step is step 6, with maintenance tools. So how can we do what we've been talking about and keep it a priority each and every day? Again, it's not just something fun that we've done today and talking about managing our diary. It's something that we want to be committed to and making being organized a part of our everyday lives. Something that I recommend people to do is to sit down at the same time every week and have a look at your calendar and see what you've got coming up for the rest of the week. So if you've got kids, you can sit down and say, I used to do it on a Tuesday when the kids were in primary school and the school newsletter came out. I'd have a look at new events that are coming up and plot them out in the diary. And then also look at the special days at the same time that's coming up in the next week. They might have something to a dress up that they need, or take a special morning tea. There seems to be a lot of that stuff when the kids are in primary school. So I'd sit down same time each week on a Tuesday and look ahead to see what those sorts of things we've got coming up so that you can plan for them. And even if you're a bit older, you can do that and see if you've got a doctor's appointment coming up, or a dentist or a specialist. You know, do you know where you're going? Do you know how to get there? How long is it going to take you to drive there? Have you got the address? Do you need to take any other details like x-rays or a referral? So these are some ways, by looking at the week ahead, we can plan, we can make that week flow a bit better, make sure we've got time, as we've spoken about a few times, to move between appointments, because you don't just turn up at the doctor's on time. There are quite a lot of steps that need to happen for you to get there on time or early, which is preferable, to make sure you can park and then walk to the appointment, those sorts of things. So as a maintenance tool, as a way of being organized and making being organized a part of daily life, I'd highly recommend this weekly preview, having a look at your diary, see what you're coming up for the next week and go, oh yeah, okay, I've got to go and see, which is what I do on a Sunday myself now that the kids are a bit bigger and don't need to worry about their calendar so much. Oh yeah, okay, so I've got Thursday, I'm going out to this client, which I'm doing today, and I need to make sure that I've emptied the car because I'm going to be picking up a lot of donations from their house today. So I've already been out there this morning and cleared out my car ready for that appointment, because it's not long after we finish this session today. And I recognized that when I sat down Sunday night, when I look at my whole week ahead and look at the clients I've got coming up to see what I need to prepare for. So I highly recommend, as a part of your daily maintenance and being organized, to make some time each week to have a good look at what we've got coming up. And then sometimes you might realize that you've double booked yourself by looking at that week ahead. You go, oh gosh, well, I can't be at two places at once, or I haven't got time to go from this appointment to the next one. You know, you've got a bit of time to reschedule if you're looking ahead of time. Wondering with that maintenance, what's going to be most challenging for you in maintaining what we've been talking about today? A few of you have said you're going to make a few changes to your diary. What's going to be some of those challenges about staying organized? Or if there's something that we haven't talked about today that we've missed, let me know in the chat there. So in summary, we're going to have a couple of minutes to chat at the end of it, I think. But in summary, making conscious choices with our time is all about making life simpler and more manageable. Like Bill said, we're not saying no because we're busy. We're saying no because we don't want to be too busy. So I love that idea of those conscious choices. We're doing it deliberately. And so with this focus on our time, we can deliberately bring things into our lives that we love and let things go that we no longer love or no longer serve us in the now. So we can say yes to projects that we really want to work on and say no to others that aren't a priority for us now. We also want to use our time and our stuff, our things around us, to take us closer to the life that we want to live rather than taking us further away from the life that we want to live, because we can't be happy and healthy and be achieving those important things if there's too much other noise going on. You're getting sidetracked or getting distracted by shiny new objects or new ideas. We want to try and keep focused. And I could have mentioned it earlier before, in the focus board workshops that I've done before, we get really specific on just a few projects to work on at a time. So this really helps me stay projects. This is March and April. I need to update it, but it was talking about what I'm doing with our team, networking, find some finance things that I'm doing, and some videos that I was working on for somebody else. So this really keeps me focused. You might be able to do something like that for yourself, to be able to keep a few projects at the front of mind, to be able to, if somebody asks you to do something, you go, oh, well, it's not on my focus board. I'm not going to be able to work on that for you today because I've got these other projects going on. Oh, did that just flick too? No. Oh, anyway, I promised you that I was going to be able to share what we've got coming up on our next workshops. These are free workshops like this every fortnight. I just love to be able to share, learn from you guys, and you guys can share as well about your decluttering and organizing journey. And our next free workshop is the 8th of June, 10 to 11, so the same time, and it's the mid-year wardrobe declutter. So if you've got too much stuff in your wardrobe, come along, let's walk through the 6 steps again, and look at your wardrobe. And then the fortnight after that, 22nd of June, will be mid-year kitchen declutter. So again, if you've got too much in your kitchen and pantry, come along and we will share some things there. And here's that one-on-one program that I was talking about, the coaching program, where you can join me if you're finding it really hard to get focused and stick to those important jobs. If you've got a big project coming up at work, if you've got something new that you're launching in your business, let's get together once a week on Zoom. Let's talk about the priorities in that, and let's get some daily actionable steps for you to make to get you towards those important things. It's a perfect way to be able to take what we've talked about today. Let's be accountability buddies over the next 6 weeks. So that program for the 6 weeks is $8.97. So Mary Lou has no doubt popped that link in the chat if you'd like some more information about it or just would like to book in. Let's do those hour-long sessions over the next 6 weeks so that we can help you along your decluttering journey. And also, if there's anything that you wanted to chat about today, I offer you a 15-minute strategy call. If there's something you didn't quite pick up today or need some more information on it, drop me a note there or book in a time through the link that Mary Lou's put in the chat so that we can talk about your specific needs. All right, I'm just going to have a look at the chat and then we've got a few minutes for questions. Nothing else in the chat. Thank you, Mary Lou, for those links. Grab those links if anyone needs them. So there's the registration for the mid-year wardrobe declutter, mid-year kitchen declutter, the Get and Stay Focused 6-week program, and also the discovery call, the 15-minute call. So thank you for that. I'm going to stop the sharing. If you've got any other questions, pop it in the chat or feel free to unmute yourself. Just remembering that this is being recorded. We're going to share it with others. If anyone's got any specific questions, or is there something I missed or something that you're still finding difficult to action? And also pop in the chat, what was your aha moment? What was the biggest takeaway that you learnt today? That we'd love to hear your thoughts. Nicole and Bill, Bettina, thanks for all your thoughts today. Janine, thank you. Anything other specific that we didn't cover? Yes, Bettina.
Hi, everybody. This wasn't from this lesson, what I've learned from you, but from the previous ones, which was to start decluttering. And I did it together with a friend, and she was interested as well. So now we encourage each other. And the good thing is, I said to her, let's just do 15 minutes twice a day, and then again, and it's made a big difference already.
Lovely. Do you do that in person or on?
I do it on my own, and then every time I said, "Hey, what did you do today?"
That's so good. Lovely. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Just those small things, like you're saying, can make a big difference. It can really add up. Well done. Thank you for sharing that. And Bettina, well, we've got a bit of time. Do you want to tell people about connecting the dots and how some of those strategies that you wrote about can help with people managing their diary and their health and their energy?
I wrote this book over a period of time, and I started to get unwell with mental illness, and then I had to look for ways to cut my diary down, or and have not so many commitments. And I have also very often cancelled appointments, and some people, I understood that and others didn't, but that's what I had to do. So it's basically another way of saying no. And in my book, I created a section with helpful hints just in the bubbles. And it's just one thought which can help you, make you feel better. Like one says here, it all starts with one single thought, know the power of thought, etc. And what else can I say about the book? You've read it, Julie.
I have read it. It's wonderful. I love how you wrote it, how you shared, you share a lot of amazing things in there from the, the tragedy of your mum suiciding when you were very young and your breakdown and diagnosis of bipolar, but then to know you and to spend time with you and how you just live what you write in your book and with your calendar. You have that in your life every day. You practice it every day. Those maintenance tools that you use is just remarkable.
Yes, thank you.
Pleasure. So let me know, get in touch with me if you were interested in Bettina's book. Janine says, well done, Bettina. Yeah, it's wonderful a great read and some wonderful strategies to help you out. Thank you.
That's the Lady Beetle book.
Oh, can't wait.
Draft
Lady
form.
Beetle, very nice. Looking forward to reading that one.
Thank you.
Thanks again. Anybody else got any final thoughts or questions before we finish up? Beautiful. All right, we might take an early minute. Reach out if you, as I said, would like to know more about Bettina's book or would like to ask any other specific questions in relation to decluttering your calendar. Drop me a note. You are welcome, Janine. I appreciate the encouragement today, she says. Look forward to seeing you all in a fortnight for the next session, and take care and look after yourselves. Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Julie. Thanks, Marla.
Thanks, Julie.